making the tournament in your third year at Alabama?
Yeah, it's special. You know, I remember when my agent called me and said, you want to interview for the Alabama job? I was like, Alabama, really? And I remember that first interview back in Dallas 3 years ago. And now, you know, we're here, and this is something that Coach Bowder and I talked about, where we wanted to be in year 3, making the tournament and potentially having a chance to, you know, if we play well, have a chance to advance. But it hasn't played out exactly the way I thought it would play out. We didn't achieve in the regular seasons all of the goals that I wanted or that we'd envisioned. But the main thing is our team fought through adversity, and we were able to go to St. Louis and win a couple of games and, you know, get a little bit of our swagger back and prove some areas of our game that were flawed, and here we are today. But I think the main thing to answer your question was the first thing I thought about was that first meeting I had 3 years ago.
As best you can tell, where's the confidence level of the team?
Well, I think it's they're not overconfident, but it's much better than where it was about 10 days, 2 weeks ago. I just think they were very disappointed, as we were, of being that little rut and not being able to break through and win a game and get out of it. We came close in some games, obviously, and then we had a couple of one or two of what Daniel Giddings called our embarrassing performances. But I think they feel good about where they are, and I think they're ready to respond to some of the things we've been talking about all year. When I tell them catch the ball with 2 hands, it's not because I'm trying to be a mean coach, because I know 2 is better than 1. So, you know, I think they stop fighting us on some things, whether it's spacing or moving the ball, or when one guy gets trapped, you got to space the floor properly. So I just think a lot of the things that we talked about that hadn't happened in the losing streak, we improved in some of those areas when we got to St. Louis.
We saw the video of the team, saw Dante in with the team at the announcement. How's he doing?
Well, I asked him what's 2 + 2. He said 4, so we're doing better. But we hope to, we'll reevaluate him in the morning and see how much he can participate, if at all, in practice tomorrow. And if it's not tomorrow, you know, we'll check him out on Tuesday. But the main thing is, you know, we're optimistic, but until I see him jump ball on Thursday at whatever time the game is, I'm just going to keep praying for him. Hopefully he'll get better and he'll be able to play.
From an optics standpoint, how different is making the NCAA tournament versus being sent to the NIT, which kind of invites a negative connotation? I mean, the NIT does, the NCAA does.
Well, yeah, I just think if we were going to the NIT again for the 3rd straight year, I don't know if you could say that's legitimate progress based on what I said when I first arrived here. So from an optics standpoint, and from what I just experienced upstairs with our players and our family, it's obviously a great feeling, and it's one that I've never felt before as a coach. I felt it twice as a player, but I just think, you know, guys are excited. I told them it's a new opportunity before we went to St. Louis, new opportunity, new season, and now we've embarked on another new opportunity in new season. And I think it's actually kind of good for our team, because, you know, when they feel like their backs are against the wall and now they understand, hey, it's win or go home. I'm hoping that'll really make them even more focused and energized and ready to do all the little things we know it takes to win a game.
You said you haven't done this before.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For you, I mean, this is something you've talked about, again, even preseason. You know, how kind of refreshing is this to kind of see all the kind of time you put in come through?
It's a breath of fresh air, because, as I was saying earlier, with all of our teams, when I walk in the gym after Memorial Day and I look at the team, I look at the talent, and basically when the schedule comes together, I have kind of numbers in mind of where I think we should be at different points of the season and the record, and we did that for all 3 years, and like I said, we just got to a point with this team where, you know, we couldn't break through like I wanted to. And then because of that, I thought that we underachieved in some of our games this year. But the SEC was as good as it's been in 15 years. And I think that's been helpful. But I just think overall, man, we just got to keep pushing, Alex. You know, we just got to keep pushing, keep fighting, keep moving, and hopefully we'll have Dante back, hopefully, because we've seen two games in St. Louis that when we're whole and we're healthy and we're playing pretty good basketball, we can be a pretty good team.
Seeing what you were saying before, that you haven't gone through this before, this is a new experience, the whole preparing for an NCAA tournament on the run, you know, kind of on the fly, a new team. Have you talked to anybody about how to handle that kind of?
Yes, I think one of the things is when you hire a guy like John Pelfrey, who has a tremendous amount of collegiate coaching experience, you lean on it. Obviously, Petway's been in the league and he's been in the tournament, and especially as a player, and his team made a deep run. And Yasir had a good run with Oregon. You lean on those guys. But at the end of the day, I think part of coaching is not just coaching in the game, it's scheduling, it's knowing when to practice. And, you know, before we went to St. Louis, we probably our practices were as short as it's been all year. So and they responded, and we had pretty good energy. So I lean on those guys, and, you know, maybe one or two other guys around the country that I have a relationship with that's had pretty successful coaching careers in college.
How big was it to see John Petty get some shots?
That was, you know what, that was one of the things coming out of that game. He and AJ, because they both struggled off the bench. But specific to your question, John, his release point was good. His elevation was good. He played a little bit inside the three-point line. So if nothing else, that was a real positive coming out of that game. Obviously, in our first game, Dante did a pretty good job on winging, and I think Gabriel was happy that he didn't play, obviously, with the way he shot the ball.
Coach, what's something that you've done with this team to help them get over the offensive lulls? You know, it happens to all basketball teams. What's something, you know, they respond to from you?
Speed. I think one of the things is, you know, pace of play. We just weren't running the ball, even after made shots. We just got to get the ball up the floor, and that helps us get in our offense, even if we can't score. And it's just at one point, just too much ball watching. You know, Colin has the ball, we're just watching him too much. And just everybody needs to participate in their own way, because we have a lot of guys that can handle the ball. And another huge thing, it's not going to get a lot of headlines, but getting Herb Jones back for us, you know, Herb means a lot to our team on both ends of the floor. And having him back for that A&M game, and obviously the Auburn game was important to us, because in the Auburn game we needed to basically eliminate Jared Harper, and Herb does a great job of doing that with his defense.
You still have some more film to watch, but what have you seen from Virginia Tech? And
I haven't watched him at all.
okay, you haven't seen it. You don't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't.
Yeah.
We haven't scouted them. We haven't had a meeting.
I didn't know if you had seen them before, or if you had any.
Well,
thoughts on them.
maybe during the season you might see them play a game. You know, just watching them in the background, but you're not really scouting them. So I know Buzz Williams very well. Okay, but yeah, when I'm finished with you guys, we'll go up and get started and break the film down. The guys are loading a bunch of their games on my computer as we speak. So the next time we meet, I'll have a little bit more information on Virginia Tech for you.
Along those lines, what you were talking about before, the other players, how much do you anticipate the success moving forward on the other guys, JP, you know, Braxton, Dante, if he can play, her other guys stepping up in scoring and playing bigger roles?
That was one of the things that hurt us when we're not having enough participation from the entire team. You know, in games, you know, Braxton almost has a double-double against Auburn, and Herb is playing his defense. Galen Smith giving us a post presence. Dante doing what Dante doing. JP, you know, taking and making his shots or making the correct pass, and Dejan getting to the free throw line. there was a stretch in the season where we were only getting spot production from our guys. But when we're all playing at a high level and everybody's thinking the game and we're one mind, it's a beautiful thing to watch. That second half, and even when we were up by 12 on A&M, it's when you're watching that on film, you're just like, man, this is what we're after. But then, you know, we'll be up by 12 on A&M, and 3 out of 4 possessions, we're going to pass it to the other team for some reason and assist the other team. So I just think we've had a couple of recent level 3 halves, and when we do that, boy, we could be a pretty good team.
Let's do one more question, guys. Anything else?
How critical was that Texas A&M win then? I mean, how anxious were you in that timeout?
You know, it was critical, but at the same time, we still have so many teaching points. 3 out of 4 turnovers. Okay, why did we, you know, go and double team Starks when he picked up his dribble and Herb has him under control, but we lost Gilder for a 3 by their bench. You know, why did we have pick and roll coverage breakdowns with 2 of our guys on Starks 3 at the end of the game? So instead of winning by 6 or 7 points comfortably, we put ourselves in that position. But fortunately, you know, Colin got the ball out in space and made an incredible shot that's probably going to go down in history for our team and basically help hopefully catapult the rest of our season.
Where you think you guys were going to be in without that? If you guys would have lost that game, you think you guys were in?
I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. I'm not sure. I don't think it would have helped our chances.
At that moment, though, were you kind of thinking this might be our season? It could come down to this?
You know, things happen. Like I told you guys, you know, Greg Popovich, you guys probably wouldn't have never heard of Greg Popovich had we lost the game in Houston in his 2nd or 3rd year, right? We're sitting there 6-9, and we beat Houston, and it's a 50-game season, and we finished the season 34-16, win the championship, and now he's a legend coach, right? But had we not won that game at Houston, who knows? Crazy things happen in sports. You look at some of the things that's happened in college, and a guy makes a shot, incredible shot, and keeps the team advancing early in the rounds, and then they make it and win it. So you just never know. Things don't always happen the way you want them to happen. I didn't want to have a 5-game losing streak. You know, that's instead of me sleeping 4 hours a night, then it's 2. All right, and I like sleeping 4 hours a night. And I don't never get 8, but I love 4. 4 makes my wife says I'm a better husband when I sleep 4 hours. All right, so but it has ended up the way it's ended up, and fortunately we're still alive. And however we're alive, we're alive. And let's see what happens. And I'm excited to go break this Virginia Tech film down, and hopefully we'll give ourselves a chance by playing some pretty good basketball.
Finish,
All right, thank you, guys.
9-9 against the field, against teams that made the field.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right.
A lot of games.
A lot of games.
18.
18? Really? Okay, good.
Lipscomb made it.
I know that was good.
Outside the
I was, and you guys are done?